Actually, after SGL, oh my gosh, and do we have a heck of a match here for actually arguably one of the most fun co-op weeks here in League Season 5, Link to the Past Randomizer. We've got co-op veterans, and it is cross, as we can see on the screen, a retro, which is Universal Small Keys, cross-world entrance, and of course, everybody's favorite, arguably starting weapon, a sword. We have two amazing teams here today. Last Locationeers, featuring Scottish Brave and Structural Mike, facing off against two pugs, which you may or may not recognize, Andy and Dante. Now, of course, is going to be like a ridiculously great match. Hello, Tracy. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. My voice almost recovered
Almost,
from
yeah.
talking all weekend at SG Live. Met Andy and Dante at SG Live. You know, interesting that this is probably a good week for Mike and Scottish Brave to face them because they had a little extra time to practice. Andy and Dante doing the SG Live thing. Andy in particular,
that's true.
Going to quarters in Link to the Past and winning the SMZ3. So Andy was pretty busy. They both had a pretty busy weekend.
Yeah. You know, and the great thing about SGL is that it's all like the excitement within the chaos, right? You know, as you said, like Andy was a participant in multiple tournaments. I think Dante was actually just one, but man, like Andy, especially making it all the way to the end, he was, I think at some point he logged in like 10 hours of randomizer in a day, just playing all of his matches.
And Maniacal on Saturday, both being, culminating with them playing each other, playing multiple SMZ3s, multiple Link to the Past.
yeah. I just remember it was like Maniacal and Andy were facing up. I think maybe Link to the Past, and then it was right. And then like 5 minutes later, it's like, okay, time to switch over to SMZ3. It's like, okay, well.
See, we all missed by not coming. In the meantime,
yeah, it was so exciting.
Oh, there's a moon pearl. Hey, look, we got some.
How did we get such an early moon pearl? Like,
I don't know. I never get early moon pearls when I play this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's those are, oh my gosh. And watching Andy get the triples out of the front of the castle, 20 rupees, man. Retro, right?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
you're never gonna complain about more money, and so to be able to see something like this is just so nice for runners.
Yeah, interesting to see the different starts. Like Dante doing the kind of traditional, let's go to Houlihan start. Andy just gonna go ahead and hit start at Sank, so he's gonna hit back of escape. Mike doing a slightly different opening, going and hitting those two east locations. That's where he found the moon pearl, and also looks like head over to Eastern. That east location now, Scottish Brave, of course, going to hit that pretty soon. A lot of runners don't hit those two entrances for quite a while, so definitely early advantage to last Locationeers. So the Moon Pearl by itself doesn't do anything for us. It's good to have.
Right, yeah. And right now, while of course Moon Pearl is, as you mentioned, it's pretty invaluable item. Right now though, like without really like boots or without really like any real Dark World access, it's not really going to impede them in terms of movement, right? It's just going to be something they would like to have, probably on the sooner side, but
it does not proving me wrong.
It's all right, it's but I actually do like this kind of going over to like the Hylia Island type of area, and because as you said,
I like that early too.
Right, yeah, especially early on if you're playing solo entrance, it's just so easy to just kind of forget about that location and just be like, oh yeah, I can always get there. It's right next to my house. Like I'll just go there, and then
I can get there anytime I want. And then you just
30 minutes later, you're still missing your pearl.
Exactly. So we have Structural Mike found Beastown, probably in the eastern area, because I believe that's where he was checking. And nobody's gone over to Kakariko. I like the early Kakariko because there's so many entries to check. And in co-op, you can just send one person there and the other person can do all the other locations. But these guys, we don't want to do Kakariko. Actually, it's like Scottish Brave, maybe heading over there right now. Has one bomb, might farm these 50-50s for a couple more, we'll see.
Yeah, also kind of looking at our key tracker, we actually have a couple of small keys just from, their adventures here during exploration. They have also got, as you mentioned, like they start out with 3 bombs in a chest. Scottish Brave, you always kind of, like, those early resources are just, super critical. That means you don't have to kind of stop by your way and go try and find a shop. You just basically, if you stumble upon, let's say, the chicken house, right? You just have a bomb ready to go. You have to come back for it.
Yeah, I mean, the worst is when you find Mini Moldorm Cave, you only have like 3 bombs. You can't do that. But most of the other ones, like right here, Scottish Brave happens to want to connect. It looks like she doesn't want to try it yet. I don't blame her. It's really early. Could put her in a place where she can't get back. Could be a Dark World connector. 3 hearts, dark roll connector, bunny walking. Not exactly the most fun thing
Yeah,
ever.
yeah. And of course, as we're kind of seeing on those kind of groups, we do have that starting swords. We do actually get a little bit of visibility, some sparklies. It's certainly not going to be certainly as dangerous, right? Without that weapon.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between dark rooms with a sword, without a sword, is pretty significant. There are other weapons that allow you to do better trips through dark rooms, but the sword just makes it. If you know the path, especially the ones that's the most important one here, which would be the front of Old Man Cave to go for the rescue.
Right.
The sword makes a huge difference having that.
So actually, just happened to notice on Dante's side, he went through a brother's right, found the, I guess, vanilla connector, but it did not spit him out in the vanilla location next to Race Game. It actually spit him out at the top of Bunker Cave in the Dark World. So we actually already have some Dark World access.
There's our Dark World access. That's actually a really common Dark World access, from what I've seen in Cross Keys. It's also one of the most annoying. Oh yeah, and Mike went and rescued the old man. Did find the Old Man Cave, so it's going to have Adologic with mountain axis. It's still a lot of locations. It's probably Adologic from the lamp. Could be Adologic from the flute as well. But the lamp is usually in a situation where you can take the connector from the front to the back. It's usually the lamp the game wants you to have, so it might be a while before we see it, but might show up. Lamp is really nice in these cross keys. Just see, because you have the Death Mountain Descent connector. It's just, you don't want to do that one without the lamp, and that might be an important connector.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of funny, right? Like where the lamp kind of shows up, because sometimes it can be just super early. Maybe you think it's a little bit more suspicious. Maybe you want to go chase those dark ones. Sometimes, it doesn't have to show up for quite some time, because it really, doesn't have to lock them. We saw the old man actually just even give us a compass, right? That's certainly not required.
Yeah. Andy picked up a bottle somewhere because Sick Kid gave him a piece of heart.
Yeah, I think it was Thieves Town, in the front of Thieves Town.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so Mike also found it as well.
Yeah, so Mike has that bottle as well. Since Sick Kid had nothing, then the other racers do not need to rush towards that bottle.
Looks like Mike actually found the top of Fairy Ascension. That is, for what it's worth, the better half of that connector, because you can just, all you gotta do is drop down.
Yeah, drop right down.
If you find the other one, you're very sad. you wish you had like a magic rope or something that just hoists you up a couple levels.
No, the worst one is Super Bunny Cave from the back versus from the front. From the front, from the back, you just go pick up the items. From the front, you're like, oh, it's a connector. It's gonna put me someplace bad, but it's 2 items. Also, shout out to Spiral Cave for being a bad connector to have to deal with.
Yes, but at least this time we have a sword, right? I mean, most of the time, you play cross keys, like you see Spiral Cave, you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go through this with bombs.
Oh no,
like, it's so dangerous.
3 heart Spiral Cave without a weapon, just no.
It's awful. Yeah.
Special Mike is gonna do this castle tower check. I assume he'll do both. He's got a small key to do it. 3 hearts in this without. Let's see if this is not safe. Perfectly doable. But everything hits hard in here, so this is gonna be interesting to see if he can survive this.
Yeah, you're kind of meant to come here with like at least 1 more sword, at least a couple more hearts, with the lamp, of course. Yeah, but Mike, this, he's in the Invitational League, and he's probably, again, you mentioned we got a little bit of extra practice time, in order to prepare, in order to face off against Dante and Andy. So.
Yeah, I know for a fact. Well, I shouldn't say I know for a fact, but I know several of us had talked about just playing co-ops, even just for fun, while we were at SG Live. It just didn't happen.
Well,
and I'm gonna imagine it didn't happen for Andy.
Yeah, way too much to do. All right, though, looks like the mic was actually successful, and of course, being on such low health, that is a perfect opportunity to death warp immediately afterwards. It only was 2 rupees, but again,
make the death warp really easy.
Yeah,
okay, we're gonna see a couple of these Dark World spots. And we have that Moon Pearl, so no bunnies here.
Yeah, it looks like actually Scottish Brave taking that sword also to her advantage. Stumbling upon Mini Molder Cave here in Blind Side didn't actually look like it yielded that much, though.
I think Andy also gonna do the Castle Tower play. He's only got 2 hearts, but he has 4 max, so if he got a couple of drops, he'd be better off. And we have an early back of TR, so laser bridge, and we have a blue cane. I don't know where Scottish Brave got that blue cane, but she's using it, so it does put this in logic.
That's right. That's right. We're on entrance mode here, right? So there's no such thing as really advanced logic and entrance.
Right.
You definitely need the fire rod, for dark. I'm sorry, for the lamp for dark rooms, and specifically for laser bridge. you do not want to be doing this, be forced to do this, on 3 hard screen mail with nothing. So you definitely need some sort of invincibility item. Scottish Rick actually doing a little nice trick, right?
Yep. I'm a big fan of getting those first two, the front and the back one. You can fall down and use your iframes to get through. Can't do that for the middle one, so you can see her pausing and waiting to do the checks there. Gets her bottle, so can skip the one in Thieves Town. Not that she really even needs that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see her definitely taking her time. Yeah, no, she did quite well.
Lot of nothing.
Right, yeah, nothing in a mini Mulder cave, nothing at Laserburst. These are great caves you see, early on. You're, oh my gosh, you have come upon this 4-item location, something that's a 5-item location. Oh, apparently nothing.
Yeah, see, sometimes it feels like the high item locations just give us nothing. We're still missing a ton of stuff. Like the only thing of significance that we've really found is that Moon Pearl.
Yeah.
Everything else, Scottish Brave gonna give us, and Dante gonna give us the escape right now.
Yeah, they're probably actually pretty happy in this case to see, like, oh my gosh, I've gone through so many. You know what? They're even happy to see that mirror.
Here's an item. That's an item.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got something. The interesting part about, because we have the retro keys, there is no small key logic, so you don't have to worry about, not having the key to get to the back here. You don't have to worry about, pod with all, it's things locked by 6 small keys. You do kind of have to worry about pod in a different sense. I tend to, when I play Retrons, tend to like to have 4 or 5 keys so that when I happen upon pod by accident, I can just do it. However, once I've done pod, then I'm like, I don't care about keys anymore, because there's going to be so many in chests anyway. But, if I know I'm going to hit pod, then I might. That's the biggest reason for me to buy small keys in this mode, is if I know for a fact I'm going into pod. I don't want to have to, normally you might have to double, triple dip it because of the number of small keys for pod. Whereas in this, you can make sure you don't have to double, triple dip it. Just by buying enough keys to go in there.
No, that's, you definitely, mentioned, the double-edged sword of no small key requirements, right? On the one hand, you don't have to worry about it because everything's in logic. On the other hand, you do have to worry about it because everything is in logic. Something in something in harmless hellway, you don't have enough keys. Sorry, I guess you're gonna have to come back. If that's gonna be, your next glove or something.
That's one of my goals when I play this mode, is I want to end with 0 keys. It doesn't always work out, but I try.
Yeah. So, actually talking about, specifically with co-op, if you're playing Retrons or maybe cross keys by yourself, right? Typically speaking, you're trying to kind of manage your resources, right? There's again up and downsides about co-op as well. On the one hand, your partner's, sharing all this information, right? You see how in this case fast, how people, went up and got their pearl, right? Trying to explore, different areas, together trying to get more coverage. On the other hand, you may not stumble upon all the resources. Your partner could find 2 small keys, and then you're the one who finds pot, right?
Absolutely.
That can happen.
Yeah, the money situation plus, for the rupee bow, and of course the key situation. I know in having done this similar co-ops in SMZ3, my partner gets all the super missiles, and I have to fight Marjorie because I just don't have enough.
Yeah, especially I remember. Yeah, I remember actually. I think sometimes it was a week 1. I think it was all dungeons key sanity or something, or no, just all dungeons.
Keys, but all dungeons.
Oh, right, all dungeons. Yeah, you see teammates one person has 5 hard screen mail, the other person has 15 or something. You're just like, how did this happen? Do you not like me?
Because you'll see, one player will skip all the part pieces.
We actually do see some convenient money farms, though. We did find the Arrow game, at least Structural Mike said. Actually, speaking of money, and most notably, typically you could actually see, one runner at least doing some type of cool hand, just because, again, money is very, very valuable. Actually, hasn't really seen here for any of our 4 runners, just because we've just had so many opportunities in order to get money.
Okay, so Structural Mike now in the escape, probably just going to pick up that mirror and just that. I believe we just found Ganon over in the Lost Woods drop down, so no hard required GT. I personally like when GTs are required because I don't have to make a decision as to whether or not I do the climb, but not today. I don't think we've seen the well yet, which is always the fun one, because okay, do I kill whichever Aga for the well? And I always get it wrong. The well never has anything behind.
Oh my gosh, the
behind
well,
Aga
the well is
unless
so
I don't do it.
it's oh my gosh, it's Schrodinger's well. Forget about Aga. You know, he's not in our fan club today. But it's just see exactly. It doesn't seem like you can ever make the right decisions when it comes to this.
Oh, so we'll get those. We need to get those points up there. We'll get that up there. We have the Pugs undefeated with 18 points. The last Locationeers at 5-1 with 15 points. So we'll have to get that up there in just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean both teams have actually, very, quite the strong record. It is, technically, basically considered like a round robin type of, format, right? You want to try and get as many wins as you win, and however many wins or losses doesn't actually affect next week's pairings or anything like that. And the fact that they have been, both the teams performed so well actually just makes this even a better matchup.
Yeah, and shout outs to the Invitational finalists, because we have Scottish Brave and Structural Might. They were the runner-up, and of course, Bottles and Empty, which we'll
for
see
the Open
tomorrow.
last
From
right?
Open, yeah. Really showing that they belong in Invitational this season.
Oh yeah,
Bottles
and
Empty
really
has like
great.
two losses, so like 4-2, I want to say. So yeah, both are 5-2 because they played this week already.
Yeah, but I mean, like, honestly, have you seen how stacked Invitational is? It's like every single team is ridiculously scary, and even if you take off like one win, right? Even if you think you're the underdog, I mean, it is a very, very like difficult feat to do.
Scottish Brave finding blindside. Let's see if this 5-item cave. Oh, we do have something. We get a mirror. Sorry, mirror. A hammer.
Yeah, we have
a mirror called a hammer.
Hopefully you don't use the hammer to smash open that mirror, just because if you are superstitious, it's probably not the next 7 years are not looking good for you.
Yeah, Mike finding GT, but we can open 2 items and stare at a 3rd item, because no boots and no hookshot, no hammer. Well, he doesn't have the hammer yet. No cane to go to the right side, so not a lot we can do there. It's actually kind of an awful location for GT if you don't get to actually go in and do more than 3 checks, but they can get back there.
Yeah, and they do actually have some number of bombs. They could actually, sequence break out to do at least like Stalfos room if they want to bomb jump.
Not without the hammer. Like Scottish Brave could.
With Mike, right? Yeah. I mean, if hammer, they can go for it. But,
yeah, the wrong person has the hammer.
Right. It's just like, man, why couldn't I find GT? Just like actually right here, Dante is gonna be like, yo, Andy, I got the hammer, and Andy's like, well, great. Can you like pass it over to me?
I know, right? Okay, well, the torch item is just piece heart. No one's ever picking that up. Andy's just gonna steal the small key, which I think in this mode, stealing those small keys is smart. Oh, we are gonna get boots today, unless both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock are pendants with the cane on the torch there in Desert. I mean, chances are we're gonna get that anyway. It's has other logical implications, like for instance, right side GT.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or really or like a lot of just general items in Turtle Rock, right? That actually require the cane in order to traverse.
Yep. I mean, even if Turtle Rock turns out to be a pendant, it's not unusual for Turtle Rock to have things we need.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and of course,
powder.
Nice powder.
Okay.
Well, nice safety, but of course, when we do find Magic Bat, that's also going to be something nice.
It's nice to find powder before mushroom, because it's really hard to save scum the mushroom in this mode, if you want to try and do a fake powder later. So just having the powder, you just don't ever have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So both sides have now seen that cane. Andy's seeing it now. Mike having seen it before.
Yeah, Dating House is on the front of Turtle Rock, so whenever I'm sure everyone here is very, very anxious in order to get those boots. Probably Andy and Dante, maybe more, at least by reputation, would be probably more adept at using those boots. Honestly, so I haven't seen this yet in a race, but I guess maybe if push comes to shove, you got those boots, and you know where Samari is. I don't know. Would you just, if you were Andy or Dante, would you just like hover the first room of Turtle Rock? I don't know. Like if you're just kind of in the area.
Look, it's not just the first room though, right? Because it's the first room and the second room, and that's a really hard hover because you have to go to the side. Those of you that want to maniacal, it was the go mode item in SMZ3 was a cane of Samaria, and he's like, he asked Andy in the interview, "What's the key layout?" And he's like, "It was in. Was there a key on the right side?" And he's like, "No." Okay. Because Maniacal was considering hovering it, and I'm like,
oh,
yeah, that he would have done it if anybody was gonna do it. He was gonna do it, but
all right.
Very, very difficult set of hovers to do. It's across a big room, and because I believe it's been done with hovers and lamp for the right side.
Well, I mean,
seen-
yes, like it is.
I've seen
It is
one
physically
video
done.
of someone. It is physically possible,
Mhm.
but I don't think we're gonna ever see that in a race.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So okay. So Scottish Brave. You know. Okay. We'll go back to front. Basic for her
Oh,
progress.
there's our boots.
She found boots here in Hera, which is slightly displaced from its original location. Right before in the Hera entrance, she found K45. The inside. She found a book. Took it right next door to go read Ether Tablet. No Master Sword to get the prize, but we have found that there are myths sitting there. So Scottish Brave has just like come up with not only a wealth of information, but also she's probably just telling Mike like, get the heck up here. We've got boots in Samaria to go get.
Yeah, need those boots. Meanwhile, Mike is doing some sequence breaking. I don't believe we've gotten flippers yet here, and just get some bombs out of it. Oh, see, there's another dungeon back of Skull Woods, which no fire source. Not in logic until we get a fire rod, but you can easily do this with the lamp if you'd like to. But we don't have either.
Right. Yeah.
We're just gonna get this front item and leave and mark it down and come back later. Not exactly a great spot for it to have to come back to either, so it's kind of a shame you can't just do it now, but we can't, so, you know.
Yeah, you know, well, and maybe that's the case. You know, you think that well, maybe Skull Woods is going to be a pendant today. You know, of course we still need a maps in order to figure out if it's going to be a pendant or crystal, or you're just going to go, as you said, outright beat the boss, right? But that's not an option for us right now. So
yeah, and with the letters showing up, you'll see a lot more often the runners will just never check their map because you can just get the information. Once you have a map, you'll get that little P or C letter on your screen and it'll tell you.
Right.
Desert Big Key just giving us a compass. Although it's the Ice Palace compass, and I will always take an Ice Palace compass because that is the hardest dungeon to count.
Yeah. Although those.
So if you're gonna give me a compass, that's the one I want.
Yeah. So by the way, Mike, he's gonna go get Zora. He actually might try and sequence break if he can, but he found the other glove on Zora Ledge.
Yeah, does he have? I don't think he really has splash delete items.
Right. I mean, he doesn't have the King of Samaria, which of course Scottish Brave does. And it looks like we're gonna have to come back, but that knowledge. It looks like Andy's gonna actually get that as well, because it looks like he's kind of following part of the path in this case of Scottish Brave and Structural Mike. But all this information is very, very valuable.
Yeah, and normally in a normal seed, there's a water walk into a fake flipper savior water walk setup you can do. To get the item as well. We don't have that option either unless one of those caves has a like a mini Moldorm or an Ice Rod cave or one of those other caves that has that ledge that you can run by or walk by. So it might be a while before we actually get those gloves.
Yeah, although actually looking at we got boots now. Maybe in this case we can maybe be a little bit more creative here with some of our sequence breaking. Certainly, Dante now with the hammer, with the boots.
Yeah, Dante's gonna sequence break the right side or the left side. And if you're trying to doing this with boots versus with bombs is a significant difference.
Yeah. Of course, right. And so with boots, it's just you just bonk right over, right? You you get quote unquote infinite tries, right? As
Dante's just gonna hover.
Yeah, forget about bonking. What am I saying? This is Dante we're talking about.
Yeah. So the fire bar room is in logic. With just bonking. Everything else requires at least one bomb jump. Bomb jumps are never going to be required. But knowing the places where you can bonk versus the places where you have to bomb jump first or hover in Dante's case is really significant. And especially in co-op, I like this play better. Because, even if it's nothing, then, Dante spends his time getting the nothing, but Andy will never have to do it. Or if it's something less significant, then Andy can choose to do this whenever he wants. Now, of course, he'll hover it too if he wants to do it. But if there's not, the bigger issue of not rushing is, like we said, it's not exactly an ideal spot for GT. So.
Yeah, and especially as Dante's kind of like progressing, just like with any other, your co-op partner, you're like, oh, I found in this case, Dante found a big key to pod, right, in Southwest Room. But we don't really, one, we haven't found pod, right? And two is like, we don't actually know if we need it or not. Pod could be a pendant, nothing could be chest. But it's kind of like, you find out maybe 45 minutes from now, it's like, what, I actually kind of do need that pod big key. You're just like, okay, I guess.
Dante's switching to the bomb jump. Not gonna hover this room here.
Great key. All right. But meanwhile, though, Scottish Brave back inside Turtle Rock, taking advantage of that Canis Mario, but unfortunately that Bunny Bean.
Yeah, this room without no fire rod, bad sword. This is a terrible room to try and kill this Pokey. I would probably skip the Pokey here honestly, and just not worry about it.
Yeah,
You don't need it.
And PSA, Ice Rod does not do what you think it does to the Pokeys.
No,
you better have your dodging shoes on.
Yeah, the Ice Rod is not helping you here. But it looks like she is going to go ahead and kill that Pokey once that small key. Does get it. And again, this is more likely to be something in Retrons because it's not locked behind all 4 small keys. It is Flipper, so that is at least logically required, if not hard required.
We know that Flippers, yes, does lock a glove as Zora Ledge, so she does know about it from her partner Mike. And that might be higher on the priority list, actually.
Yeah. The Flippers only hard lock Swamp, just like normal. Like everything else we can do. We can break everything else if we want to. But, so we don't know if we actually hard require those Flippers, but it will make getting that glove on the Zora Ledge a lot easier. Fun fact, we might not even hard require a glove. If Ice Scalp is a pendant, then it's possible that have the glove. We'll see that can happen.
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of entrances, right? Sometimes you especially play like non-entrance, kind of like more like quote unquote standard, for seeds or modes. You always need miss, you always need a hammer, you always need a pearl. It's you
don't even necessarily you're not even guaranteed to need a moon pearl in entrance, which send me your pearlless seed. I want to play that if anybody has one of those.
Alright, Dancy has actually made his way all the way over to Ice Armos. Did a really nice job with Kana Burna, really actually showing the showcase of actually just how nice actually and underrated Burna is. Nothing really behind.
Yeah, we didn't really get a whole lot there on that left side, so Andy's going to be able to save time and never do it. Meanwhile, last Locationeers both getting their canes out of desert. Andy got his cane out of desert.
Yeah, it looks like also we did find the dam on Scottish Brave side as well. So eventually we can actually go check not only, of course, the drained item, but we're also going to, win with we do find Swamp. Scottish Brave is actually going to be able to go in.
One of our trackers, literally Jen, thank you for tracking, along with Slowpoke, pointing out that there was a pod big key that's probably, may or may not be required. But I think that was pretty early, so when Andy goes back to GT, he can just go get that pod big key and just leave from there.
Yeah, it was in Stalfos room, and looks like actually Andy.
Pretty early.
Yeah, it looks like Andy with that Canis Mario though. That Dante did not have.
We're gonna see tile room. We still can't do right side. Need a fire source, preferably a fire rod, but you can do it with the lamp. And if Andy gets either fire source here, I fully expect him to keep going. And Mike gonna go ahead and get his flippers here. Scottish Brave debating whether to get the heart container or fill. I never get to choose because I never have bottles or empty bottles when I find those. But if I do, I tend to prioritize the getting the blue potion over the heart container because it's pretty rare in Retrons to not get 20 hearts if you're playing solo if you pick up all the heart containers.
Yeah, and so certainly this seed certainly actually has been looking, I would say, fairly friendly on the opening items. We got mirror pretty early. We actually have, I would say, booth, relatively early, especially for entrance. We got early pearl, early money.
This is an interesting hover that Dante's doing to try and avoid the berry. Oh, and he gets it. That's so cool.
This is the we talk about actually we joke about there were like tryouts for being a part of the Pugs team. I think we're seeing here firsthand what you need in order to get onto the Pugs team.
Oh, he falls on the last hard one. He'll probably try again. Dante pretty good at it. So SG Live hovering. One of the things that the runners could tell in particular was whether someone was hovering or not. So in SMZ3 finals, Andy is doing the bowling cutscene. For those of you who don't know, it's a thing in the wreck ship where you go down with the Chorizo statue. Andy takes his controller, sticks it way out so he knows that Maniacal can see, and just starts pretending to hover. So I know I heard that some people did it during Dig Game, you know, in ALTTPR. So there was a lot of fake hovering going on at SG Live. Ironically enough, because of the different lag, it was, you know, some of the players that normally are really good at hovering had a lot more trouble because you're in a different setup and your lag's different. So it didn't work out as well. Maniacal states that he didn't notice. But it was quite the funny moment for those of us watching in person.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, Structure Max actually, you know, finding a Master Sword on Pyramid, you know, so that's gonna basically give him access to, you know, the mids. But I was gonna say, you know, you talk about actually hovering, you know, at SGL with Andy. Dante may or may not have faked out his opponents twice, and actually one of them he timed it, I think, right after like him beating Eastern. His opponent thought like he was at Moldorm 2 because that's where he was around GTE. He's like, oh my gosh, I gotta go, right? Like right now. It was quite the mental game.
Yeah, it's because it's like the one thing that you can hear, because you can hear and you can kind of see it, you know, because of the way the runners are facing each other.
Too, right? Just because
oh yeah, I bet they could, because they're on this little platform.
I would say, you know, for the most part, also these, you know, our runners are also finding, you know, caves or item locations that are actually, you know, nice to be able just to find right after they get the item too, right? We did find a Big Key to Hera, but in this case we have the hammer before we came to Mimic Cave.
It's really nice when you find Mimic Cave with the hammer. With that Tower Hera Big Key, which we don't have a hook shot, that does open up
the top, right?
Top of Tower Hera. In fact, it logically opens it up even if we do have a hook shot. It's kind of nice to have that before you can actually go through. Now, we saw Hera earlier, but at the time didn't have the hook shot to break it, nor the Big Key to just do it.
Yeah, and of course, you know, there is always the option, quote-unquote option, you know, of doing Hera Basement. Of course, no fire source means that, well, you know, I guess we're gonna have to skip it for the time being, shocked, you know, can't have to sit through another tile room, you know, for a minute.
I see the third pug in chat here. So Ari, are you wearing your t-shirt? We're gonna ask Andy and Dante afterwards. Dante made pug t-shirts for all his teammates.
Yeah, we really gotta tell the last Locationeers to step up the game. Like I don't sense any type of like solidarity here.
I know you all are in the UK, but save up your money now. Come next year. All right, there's this magic back check. So, you know, we still haven't found the well, and I don't know if we've seen all our drop-downs, but it's looking more and more like the well maybe behind GT Climb. So that could play a part here. That's, you know, that's a situation where you get 9 items, and at some point that could become one team's most densest play. But of course, as you know, the densest play isn't always the right play, and could just be bait.
Yeah, we definitely saw that very early on, mini Moldrum thing, although it did have Burna, that actually had served our runners quite well, but like, you know, Laser Bridge was also pretty empty. We did find actually our first medallion here, looks like it's Sparrow Cave.
Okay, Dante's also gonna go for this small key that he really doesn't need. He's got 8. You've got 8 keys, Dante. You can skip this. Really, trust me. You do not need the small key.
Scottish Brave and Structural Mike both went after this key, and you know, maybe it's just showing, you know, league solidarity, right, for the division. Andy's all. I wonder actually, you know, Andy, you know, he now he has to do it, I think, on peer pressure. So.
Yeah, so more importantly, Dante does get his slippers, which means he'll be able to get his glove, which will open up a bunch of new things. And it looks like we're gonna get some pyramid action checks for Andy. So he'll get his Master Sword and be able to check all the entrances up here, which I didn't see. I mean, Mike did it earlier. I don't know if there was anything there.
Yeah, actually, I think I also didn't realize. This is kind of one of those times maybe you wish you were kind of like playing like, you know, almost multiple, right? You know what? It's just a shield, so we're not gonna worry about that, at least in the dam. Oh no, Mike! That was a very unintentional overworld death.
See, so Dante goes for the more difficult pokey key, and is gonna skip the easier one. Now, you know, if you got 6 small keys, you don't need either one of these. So.
I actually wonder if Zen here is also in chat somewhere. I mean, you know, I'm certainly happy to, you know, have you lurker and all, but you know, we might be seeing a couple of
yelling at you in chat, Dante. for that exact key skip. Now we're just gonna get this other entrance, see where this spits us out. It's always nice to have that free magic refill there at the front too. Oh, Lake Hialeah Island. Okay, well that's convenient.
Yeah, and
that's actually really convenient. Dante can just go pick up his glove now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think I don't actually remember if we had anything good at the Zora, but I think Andy had already. Andy already checked.
Yeah, I believe both sides have checked the actual Zora item, and there was nothing. Dante's gonna buy a key. Wow. See, that's much faster than going and killing a Pokey.
Yeah, but as you said, at some point, like, although Dante does have actually quite a bit of cash on him, but still, at some point, I think maybe you could, you got 7 keys, right? I know they haven't got a pod yet, but
yeah, as long as you keep that key count high enough that when you run into pod, you can do it. You're gonna be pretty okay for most of the seed. Pod being the only dungeon where there are no pot keys.
Oh yeah, actually, now that you mention it, yeah, I guess everything is just in chest. How about that? Yeah, look at this. We got 3 runners on the Zora screen because I think everybody realizes
everyone wants their glove.
Yep. And sometimes this kind of happens, right? You try and do as much exploration, split up the work as much as you can, but at some point, after everything's said and done, one person finds the information, the other person finds the access. You just gotta go back and get it, and then kind of get funneled into some synchronization again.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this is now that you have Glove and Hammer, we have just normal Dark World access, so we don't have to worry about connectors to get to the Dark World anymore.
Oh, right. That's a very excellent observation. It totally just slipped my mind. Because we were in Dark World for so early. It was like, oh, that's right. Yeah. We have our glove. We've got our hammer. We've got our pearl. We also have our master sword, at least on Mike's side.
There's a lot going on 4 screens.
Yeah. And we know where our mitts are, which is on either tablet.
Yeah, Andy's going to go get his flipper, so he can go get his glove as well. He's gonna be the last of them, but that's okay. We'll see what. I'll be curious to see what Pokeys Andy kills.
Yeah, that's right, Andy.
I mean, if you have seriously, he's got a Master Sword, so it's not nearly as bad for him. But if you have a Fire Rod, it's really easy.
Oh yeah, Fire Rod makes things so much
in particular, on the equipment that these runners had, every one of them that killed a Pokey was doing it on Fighter Sword. It just makes a huge difference. Yeah, and Andy wants it as well. But yeah, it's a little better for him because he's got that Master Sword, so it's a few, not quite as many sword spins.
I think he's giving up.
Let's go, Andy.
Andy's like, you know what? This isn't worth my time. And he was actually pretty dangerously close to those Stalfos heads. Those things do 4 hearts of damage. You really don't want to be anywhere close to those things.
Yeah, and Andy says it's probably faster for me to just run from here than go all the way through the top. I think he's right about that. Just go ahead and run over to the whirlpool and warp over that way. Although he is checking out more Dark World.
Oh, actually, it looks like we're gonna get we're gonna need a new check here on Dante's side. We are gonna get the Bumbles tablet. It's gonna be potentially another good item. Hopefully.
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially. I mean,
okay, we have seen Bumper. Bumper. That could matter.
Right, so for Dante ended up getting it. At least Bumper Ledge. That was also nothing, but look at this. Look at Andy.
Okay, Dante wins the hover race today.
Yeah, but you actually can see that this is the power of co-op, right? Dandy's like, you know what? You just need to go get the looks like upper left chest, right? Or maybe so.
Yeah, Andy was the only one that had anything. I think it was a big key of some sort.
Big key of swamp.
Which probably isn't required anyway, because it is a fetch quest big key. It's opens up exactly one location. But yeah,
you're gonna
hate to get there and not have it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna be super sad when you go into swamp, you don't have it, and then your partner tells you, hey, can you go get the swamp big key from Hookshot Cave, and they come back and get the swamp because it has something important. And that is definitely very much of a time cost.
And we have everything we need for the front of Swamp. We don't have Hookshot to get to the back. And we have seen its location, and we've seen the dam. I'm not sure if Andy and Dante have found the dam yet, but Scottish Brave and Instructional might have found it, so it can't be too far out of the way.
Yeah, I want to say that Andy did, and at least Andy found it, just because I think I saw him see the drained swamp.
I wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but actually, kind of all of a sudden, because we have so much information, now we actually have access. Something our runners here on Myths, Master Sword, hammer, mirror. These are actually some really, really nice items.
Dante doesn't have an empty bottle. Wanted to get the blue goods and just says, you know what? I'm not going to bother emptying out my bottle. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the heart container instead. And now everybody has a glove. Yay! Oh, and somewhere Mike got mitts.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, he got him off of Ether tablet because again, this is one of the benefits of co-op, right? Is that mitts, as you mentioned before, maybe aren't necessarily specifically required, but boy, they sure are convenient, right? So
for
probably
sure.
Mike, decided to probably go take them down.
The loveless seed is rare. The mittless seed is actually fairly common. There's only a few things. Actually, there's very few things that are hard locked by the mitts, and some of the things that are would normally be locked by the mitts aren't because we have connectors.
Right.
So the good news, bad news. When you find mitts in cross keys, it's kind of a good news, bad news. There's a lot of more things you can look at, but there's also a lot of more things you can look at.
Yep.
It can distract you from where you actually need to go.
Yeah, and really, especially for as you said, these kind of like really major items that just open up so much. You really, really like to find them, on the earlier side of the seed, right? Especially, especially towards the end, you're maybe down to, let's say, like 2 or 3 locations left because you're already not feeling so great, and then something you find a miss, and you're just like, I now have 20 locations now.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, we still don't have a fire source. So Mike's gonna do this tower room. I did not see what we got on the other side, but I don't think it was anything significant because somebody would have yelled in chat and said, "Oh my god!" So not there.
Yeah. We found a bow.
Yeah, just bombs.
Yeah, we found a bow somewhere on Pug's side because I do see them being marked on our trackers.
Yeah, there you go. Bow. Yeah, the bow is an interesting item because you tend not to use it as much here because money. Like I can't see for sure, but it looks like Andy can't even afford 1 arrow right now. Andy, on the other hand, has plenty of money.
It does in fact look like it is 0009.
That's what it looks. Yeah, I see an 8. But for those of you who haven't done commentary, we don't quite get the resolution that you get on the restream. So those zeros and 8s kind of look the same. For all I know, it's actually 808, but I don't think so. Dante, though, we can tell has plenty of money with a 4 there. 4s are pretty easy to see.
Yeah, probably most notable difference that Andy went to go to Zora, and well, that Zora does cost a very pretty penny. So yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get our. Looks like we Scottish Bridge finishing up Tower of Hera while Andy is starting. Gonna finish this up pretty quickly.
Yeah, we did pick up a compass along the way, so we are gonna confirm that we only have Hera basement left. Just bomb some Moldorm.
Yeah, and we can't do Hera basement still because we don't have a fire source. Where is the fire? That's like the next thing that needs to show up is that fire source. Hookshot. Probably shows up. Oh, Big Key to Thieves Town. Okay, so Scottish Brave would have that too.
Oh yeah, and
the nice bomb jump over to get the big chest.
We also did find Thieves Town very, very early. So, and of course, having the hammer, we've got universal small keys means that we actually can't full clear the dungeon.
Yeah, and of course, Hera Big Chest only ever has something when when you can Hera pot and skip it until you find the Tower of Hera Big Key much later.
Yeah, it only seems that it's just like it's like all the locations that you decide to skip, they only hurt you when you decide to skip them. They never hurt you.
Or when you have to.
Yeah,
skip,
right, exactly. Yeah, it's just like, oh well, I guess we can check this. Nope, just only 20 rupees here and there. Ooh.
Yeah, that Thieves Town Big Key, we do know where Thieves Town is, so it wouldn't surprise me if one or both of Scottish Brave or Andy does that pretty soon. Dante, meanwhile, is going to do the Skull Woods section, which is really just an bunch of overall checks because this doesn't have anything to do with the back of Skull Woods. 6 items here, although 1 almost doesn't count because it's always going to be a small key, even in retrons. But it's not a bad one to pick up. And we do have a decent layout that we don't have to drop down and orphan or lock ourselves, but we don't have a fire rod to open the back anyways.
Yeah, but so far I'm actually trying to see in this case if there was actually value so far here in Skull Woods. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually look like it.
Yeah, bombos to get into the TR entrance, which usually doesn't matter.
Oh, never mind though.
Nice tempered sword.
Yeah, Scottish Brave. Dandy's gonna get that soon. Actually, very, very soon. So always really happy to be able to be upgraded tempered. You're probably just gonna be very comfortable throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, and at some point, Andy and Mike will probably get this. Mike gonna use Kana Burna strats over here on the armor. So I'm a big fan of the Kana Burna strats. They're actually not even that slow compared to like
They are remarkably fast, actually. You know, sword beams are always another, you know, viable option. Kind of see that Mike doing this actually does more, more damage.
I'd like to see Mike back up a little bit because the Master Sword itself actually does less damage than the sword beams. So you want to make sure that you're hitting those armor sites with the sword beams and not with the sword itself. The way the game coded Master Sword on Light World bosses is baffling, honestly, because
yes, it does not seem to follow.
It's like they saw Randomizer coming, because there's no reason anybody, you know, without doing glitches, there's no way anybody has Master Sword for any of those fights, and yet they nerf Master Sword on those fights. So they saw Rando coming, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. If you ever actually look at the damage table, especially for Armos, you just kind of scratch your head and you're like, what were people thinking? There's actually no order. Oh, all right, man. Scottish Brave faced with some indecision. Does not actually know if she actually wants to buy anything. You know, again, veterans and money. Very, you know, everyone's on a budget these days, right? And she's only got 100 rupees to spare.
Okay, so Andy in Thieves Town, the best thing about retrons or retro modes is Thieves Town, you can skip the pot key and you just have to remember to pick it up when you're done. Actually, with 4 small keys, Andy should remember to pick it up because we still haven't found Pod, the key hog. So he's gonna want to remember to grab that small key. If he doesn't, it's not a big deal. We can buy keys. You know, like he can't because he has no money.
Yeah.
But it is really nice to be able to just, you know, not have to go pick up that small key at the beginning.
Yeah, actually, speaking of, right, you know, we haven't actually seen, you know, any like 300 rupees, 100 rupee hordes. We haven't really come back and did like another tree pull. Yeah, and you know, it's maybe they're not kind of at that point, you know, yet in terms of they're really hurting for money. But you know, where is the money? Like, where are the money prize packs here? Right?
Yeah, you're right. I don't think we found any of those 300s. We've had some good tree pulls, like you say. Ganon's Tower big key.
Yeah, great. I've always
we can't climb yet because we need a fire source, but Meyer big key. And
oh my gosh.
So Paradox Cave today is Big Key Cave because there were 3 big keys there, with the Eastern, the Meyer, and the GT Big Key. GT Big Key is one that unless you get Vanilla Ganon, you kind of like to see that rot and never show up, because then you just can't be baited into the climb. And we found TR bridge. In this Mimic Cave entrance we can only get to by a connector or... and it's Hype Cave! Let's go!
Is there anything good here? Heart container?
Heart container, There's our money.
Yeah, finally. Oh, and a mushroom.
Mushroom.
Great.
Okay, I will downgrade that Hype Cave for giving us a mushroom. I don't even know if we found the potion shop. So it's like, it's not like Dante can say, well, I'll go turn in the mushroom and I'll be able to tell you whether you need to go get that. No, he can't do that because he can turn in the mushroom, but I don't think we found the potion shop to find out if it is anything. Again, thankfully, we've already found powder, so we don't have to worry about fake powder.
Right, but you know,
and an Eastern here too.
I'm proud of you, Dante, for entering this dungeon. Good job.
I mean, he's got the big key and he's got the bow, so you just gotta do it. We don't know if it's a pendant or a crystal yet, but yeah, it's 6 items and possibly a crystal. You just do it here. It's such a bad spot. You don't ever want to have to come back here again.
Yeah.
Oh, chat's saying Dante doesn't have the bow yet.
Yeah, I think what's happening, is that, you know, people found the shop to buy the quiver, but they haven't actually found the actual bow yet.
Oh, yeah, the auto tracker will you know what? Yeah, because I know what's one of the bugs in the auto tracking is it'll mark the bow on their trackers, and I know our trackers are wonderful trackers, but sometimes they'll look at the stream of the individual runners, and that's how they decide whether to mark something, which is fair. I mean, that's I think it's a great strategy, but yeah, sometimes the auto trackers don't work quite properly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like,
there's a reason
being able
to
watch. So yeah, I mean, no, exactly. You know, you're watching. You know, I mean, think about all the chaos that goes on in a single, you know, screen for entrance. Like now, you know, now multiply that by like 4, right? And this is what everybody has to go through. Oh my gosh!
I now officially agree with you for being proud of Dante for going into Eastern when he can't actually finish it.
We did find a shovel.
Is that
Great.
shovel gonna lead to the bow? I know chat would love that.
All right. And you know, I'm a little disappointed though that the bow is not actually vanilla. That would have been amazing.
Yeah,
that would have paid off.
absolutely. And you know, Andy is able to just run right through Laser Bridge because he knows there's nothing there because Dante already checked it. We are gonna get one new check here. He's gonna do Crystal Roller. Now let's see what Crystal Roller has for us. Just a piece of heart. Yeah, and to your point earlier, look at the difference between our runners. Scottish Brave and Dante's hearts versus Andy's and Mike's.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no. And actually, you know, it kind of also maybe just draws some similarities, right? It's almost kind of an indication that, you know, Structural Mike and Andy are kind of taking, you know, more or less similar routes, right? Versus, you know, Scottish Brave and Dante, you know, are kind of taking a similar approach. That's kind of funny how it works out.
Yeah, it's always a diagonal. So I like to joke. I tell the runners that when you submit your runners, the order you submitted in, it does dictate where they will end up on the layout. So you know, make sure that you're submitting it so that so the same players are doing the same things. Andy finding a lamp in Chicken Hut. So
there's our lamp. Amazing. There's our lamp.
We have a fire source. Yay!
Oh, right. All right. Back to Hera Basement. I'm pretty sure that's what you just said.
Yeah, back to Hera Basement. Can finish Skull Woods. The good side of Super Bunny. So we actually can just get the items. We can't actually follow the connector, which is fine. We don't really want to.
Yeah, that's right.
And it had, I mean, a small key's nice.
Yeah, you're never gonna turn down small keys, but you know, as we're kind of seeing, you know, from, you know, like the progression of the game, even earlier on, I didn't actually seem like our runners were really hurting much for small keys. Probably didn't actually see too many of them, you know, outright just buying a bunch of, you know, like stocking up on keys. So I think it's actually quite nice.
All right. Meanwhile, Andy finding the good ice rod cave. It's a bottle with a bee.
With another bee. Hey, bees are our friends here. Oh, we dug up a big key too? Oh, well, we did find out. Looks like ice is appended.
What big key?
Oh, it was ice. It was ice palette. Sorry.
Okay, so we're still on a TBD whether that is required because logically, assuming that Ice Palace is a crystal, logically that big key is going to be required. But nobody that's playing this game in this year will ever need that hard require that big key. Between Icebreaker and Ice Palace Bomb Jump, we just don't need it unless there is exactly something in the big chest.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, according to our wonderful trackers, right? Pug's side actually does mark that Ice Palace is appended. So yeah.
So it's an extra fetch questy. Of course, we haven't even found ice, so it's kind of irrelevant for now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you find all these things, right? And you really want to try and knock things off the list, you know, cross them off, right? You know, you just put it out of your mind. You know, look at all these things. We got mushroom, we got ice big key, we've got, you know, from the shovel, right? You know, we've got all these things you're like, well, I don't really know. You know, it's like all these things just gonna linger in the back of your head. Need some more mental energy.
And just 20 rupees on the magic pad. So don't have to worry about that. Andy, meanwhile, is going to show us hammer pegs.
Yeah, Mike is also kind of tracing over some of what Pugs have done, getting all of their big keys. I think also Chad had mentioned that with that lamp that, you know, Andy has, soon to be probably on at least a structural Mike side, we can do right side GT. We can also do the climb. As you mentioned before, Tracy, we can finish off Skull Woods, but not in logic, of course.
Well, we don't actually have the bow to logically do the climb, and I'm sorry, I'm not sequence breaking the climb.
You don't want to mimic climb?
No. I'm not even really a fan of sequence breaking right side GT because, you know, it could end up being that your fire rod is just your go mode item, and then. Oh, hey, we found okay, Dante finding the potion shop. We don't have to worry about that mushroom. Oh, I guess never mind. That potion shop was found early because that's a Sphere 1 location. So yeah, Andy won't have to worry about rushing for that mushroom.
Yeah, so I'm not actually sure we even have all of our full like crystal pendant knowledge at this point, but
well, we're getting close. We got a couple pendants marked. Yeah, we got 2 pendants marked in Ice Palace and Misery Mire. So there's one more pendant outstanding.
Poor Mike. So he tried to buy something from the shop. He only has 55 rupees. Can't afford a key. Can't afford anything else.
Oh, it's so sad.
Sad text box, yeah.
And Andy checking desert, which will lock him in this location. He'll have to save and quit out of this unless he, well, even if he finds the flute, he can't activate it here. So.
Yeah, I don't actually think we've seen this actually for quite some time. We got the book pretty early. Oh, great! What a nice location. Good thing we have.
You know what? Yeah, you don't want to leave. You can't leave anyway. So Mike's just gonna do it. We'll be using the cane here.
Definitely, yeah, as you said, definitely one of those locations where, you know, it actually takes a long time to get into desert. Not like we have the flute, you know, in order to backdoor this place from Meyer. So you definitely want to do one here.
Okay, get the small key. There's a small key that Dante's never getting.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. This is one of those times where this can cause some discrepancies, right? You know, Andy's stocking up all these keys, and Dante's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, Dante goes and gets his mitts.
His former team, he's happy to see that.
Oh, that's right. They was on the I forget the full name.
Yeah,
of that team. They did have mitts in the name.
The Titans Mitts of 2021, 20 Titans Mitts of 2019, something like that.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, right, yeah, Mike, that's right. Reminding us that we didn't know actually that Meyer was actually the green pendant. I think one of the pugs ended up talking to him as well. So that Meyer big key. We've done all these.
We have all the items to clear Meyer.
Yeah.
We can clear Meyer.
We haven't found Meyer yet, have we?
No, we haven't, but it's there. When we find it, we can just full clear it and get ourselves a green pendant. So it's 9 items. Something I'd see a little bit more likely runners to do, just because again it's because of the co-op situation.
Yeah. I mean, and also like we haven't really even found that many dungeons, right? You know, we haven't had.
Yeah, we're almost an hour in. We have not found Back of Desert. We haven't found Pod. We have found Swamp. I forget where. We have not found Ice. We have not found Mire. We have not found the East Turtle Walk entrance, which is only significant if we have the big key, which we don't. Andy find the other side is super funny. Yeah.
Very cute. All right, yeah, Mike though, and I think feeling the economic downturn of this particular scene, has decided to go stop by and try to earn a little bit of extra cash for himself.
Yeah, he kind of needs that money.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if Andy at some point does that too with only his 40 some odd rupees. Looks like 48 right now.
Yeah.
You know where this goes, Andy. You've seen the other side. Or one of you have seen the other side. Apparently we've seen the Back of Desert and Ice Palace. I did not see the Back of Desert and Ice Palace. I was looking at other screens.
This is why we have our trackers, right? Slowpoke, and Jen are tracking for us, and Tafile, one of the absolute veteran entrance trackers that we've seen. Not officially tracking for us today, of course, but this is why trackers are awesome.
Scottish Brave, I'm surprised neither of Andy nor Dante has done Thieves Town yet, like Scottish Brave is doing right now. It is a clearable crystal dungeon. No, one of them did it. Never mind. I remember seeing one of them in Thieves Town. I don't remember which, so I can't help our trackers out to get it marked properly, but I know one of them was in there.
I want to say it was Andy. Okay, cool.
There's Back of Desert for Dan.
Yeah, looks like Scottish Brave also doing Thieves Town. In this case, they're gonna get their second crystal. It looks like. So I guess in terms of scoreboard, with this crystal grab from Thieves Town, that should be pretty even.
Yeah, the funny thing about entrance modes is your actual go mode tends to be really, really short. Like you'll and a lot of times you'll be searching for that go -1 item for 30 minutes plus, and then once you find it, it's just bam, 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 finish.
Yeah.
Which is really nice for those when you play it. Oh, nice half match.
That was actually very timely refill. Yes.
Well, Swamp is not exactly a magic heavy dungeon, but it's nice to have it regardless.
Yeah, although we're talking about actually not seeing basically dungeons for like the first hour. We are, so Dante here is in the Back of Desert, and Andy's actually starting out Swamp Palace.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of entrances, so it doesn't surprise me if the runners decide to start just doing dungeon clears if they can. Again, Danny's not going to be able to finish Swamp unless Hookshot shows up in here. But we've never seen a Hookshot in Swamp.
No, of course not. Certainly, probably not on that big chest, right? Although we do have the big key from, I believe,
Danny finds the flute. You know what? That flute might be significant because I don't think we've seen Misery Mire area.
We have not. That is, that I'm pretty sure we haven't seen is the Mire area, and
that's a ton of entrances suddenly open up. You click that flute and all of a sudden that entire corner lights up. Since he has the mirror, not just the light world, but sorry, not just the dark world, but the light world as well.
All right, we are actually coming up here, and after Andy getting the compass chest here in Swamp Palace, we're actually going to be coming up again on kind of a big check, because if we recall, the Swamp Big Key was actually in a Hookshot Cave, and they decided to hover to it. Let's see in this case if it actually matters.
Does it pay out?
Oh, well, it does technically does pay something.
Okay, we get half an arrow for our trouble. For those of you who don't know, the way the rupee bow works is 10 rupees for an arrow and 50 rupees for a silver arrow. Given that we were trying to replicate Zelda 1, I don't understand why silver arrows cost more. Because I'm here to tell you, silver arrows do not cost more in Zelda 1 than they do in
50 rupees, honestly.
Than arrows.
Yeah, it's a pretty hefty price tag, honestly.
It really is. Like you could use up your money really fast. It's something like 500 rupees to kill Vitreous with silver arrows.
Yeah, and actually kind of depending on what your financial situation is. Sometimes people even just switch over to regular arrows for like Armos, right? Because
or just use the blue cane.
Exactly, right? Because she's like, oh, I can't really afford. Tell them the wrong way.
Okay, Mealine, Dante is going to go to the Misery Mire. We do find out the Mire entrance is Bombos, which probably doesn't matter.
Okay, we don't. I don't think we have that medallion, right?
I don't think we have any medallion. No, wait, we have Quake. I see Quake on Andy and Scottish Brave.
Yeah, they got it from Spiral Cave like pretty early, but I think that might just be the only one. Although speaking of, it looks like Mike has sequence broke on very nice moth fight. Nice, only 2 spikes that move. 8 out of 10 fight. We got a big key as a prize.
Key to Turtle Rock.
Ooh.
And a crystal.
And a crystal. Yeah, that actually. So it looks like Skull Woods is required, which means that fire rod's gonna have to show up at some point.
Yep, we do logically require the fire because again, bomb jumps are never in logic, even though some of them are pretty fun. One more check in Swamp for Andy. Scottish Brave gonna do all these checks as well. So far, we're not finding anything of particular use, though.
Yeah, we're really seeing the extra content that not having the hookshot causes. Thankfully, at least Andy has, in this case, remember hit the switch. It was for bombs, but he does not have to come back here ever again.
And Dante won't ever have to come. Yeah,
exactly.
Dante won't ever have to come back here. Scottish Brave will do the same thing, and Mike will never have to come back there.
Yeah, this is when you say thank you, partner, for doing the tedious part of Swamp Palace for me.
Absolutely. Looks like the take any sword must have been in here.
Oh yeah, that's where. Yeah, again, talk about.
And Bombos, yeah, Bombos here too. And we get Bad Ice Rod Cave, which is only of any use if you want to set up a water walk, and there's nowhere to water walk here. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and actually, I think Dante was the one who went into Eastern Palace, right? In the vanilla Biki chest, there was 300 rupees as well. And you again, you're just kind of seeing in this case like the differences, right? Mike's got 200 rupees after Arrow Game. Scottish Brave has almost 1,000.
Andy's up to 400. So
yeah.
Hey, here's Pod.
Oh my gosh.
10 small keys for Pod. Don't waste them, Dante. Be very careful with your.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're ever going to be economical and miserly now, of course, it's the absolute time to do so. Of course, we can't finish it, without an actual, real bow. We do actually have to, in this case, shoot an arrow to the back of the statue of the Igor. But
I would expect Dante to sequence break the right side, though.
Oh, 100%. In fact, Dante, we've seen basically how capable him and Andy have been hovering today. Yeah, even though the pod hover to the right side is actually one of the most difficult hovers in the game, I believe they're up to the task today.
Yep, that is, or we could do a, potion glitch slash mimic clip. But if you have the hover is much faster. So if you could do that hover, you just do it.
Yeah, so it looks like that is a flute pickup and a crystal for Structural Mike. So he's probably going to be head over to the Mire area, basically, almost immediately at this point.
And Andy's going to go ahead and sequence break Skull Woods as well. Andy, of note, has not picked up his third sword.
Yeah, that's right.
But now he's got choices. He can go ahead and skip the one in Skull Woods and just grab the one over in your Misery Mire.
Yeah, I think the sword was kind of the only real value, I think, in the front of Skull Woods too. So I think that as you said, I think grabbing the sword from the Take-Any Cave is probably going to be the faster one because they don't need gold sword. This hover though on Dante's side, oh my gosh,
you got this.
This is endurance, training. Oh, nice job, finally. Nice job, Dancy. Did not
Just for
fall.
some bombs. Let's see if there's anything here. Container. Okay, so Dandy up to 13 container hearts. That's another one that Andy's not getting. Andy only at 7. Nice pod clip from Dante.
Yeah, Dancy.
Samaria continuing to show us that it's the most broken item in the game.
No, but all 4 runners are super talented, right? You actually can see the skill ceiling, right? It's kind of like holding the shot. Everyone's so good. Most of the people be sequence round just getting, being efficient, right? Getting everything that you possibly can in one truck. And again, you actually kind of mentioned, right? Between kind of go moding in the game is actually going to be potentially fast. The mid to late end game also potentially really fast because you're just basically just like nailing down dungeons.
Hook shot. Right? There's the hook shot in pod. Nice. So that pod play, kind of important. Unfortunately, Andy. So Dante can just go finish Skullwoods anytime he wants. And Andy will get that hook shot. Doesn't need to rush the hook shot until Dante does Skullwoods and find out that there is or is not something there. We're still missing our last pendant information. It looks like Skullwoods we do know. By Skullwoods I mean Swamp Palace.
Oh.
So yeah, Dante can just go finish Swamp anytime he wants.
Yeah, right.
It is a crystal, so Andy's gonna have to do it. So we'll see how much he rushes into to get that. Chat asking if that's go mode. That's actually really good. No, we still need a bow. It could be bow mode though.
Is Turtle Rock our last pendant? Is that what we decided?
Did we?
I'm sure it's coming with the tracker, and I'm not actually sure.
I see question marks on Eastern pod and pod looks like it's marked. Yeah, pod is marked as a crystal. So it's between Eastern and Turtle Rock, and we do need the bow to do pod.
Right.
So we do need that bow.
Yeah,
it is possible in entrance if both Eastern and pod are both pendants, then we can skip it. We also need it. Dante found the fire rod. Well, there you go.
Oh, well then.
We see the fire rod, but no, we don't, because Dante found it. I didn't see where it was.
Yeah, it must have been somewhere very recent in that case. But yeah, I think armed with actually all of this knowledge, looks like at least, guaranteed, Dante and Andy are actually just looking for that bow, that one bow somewhere.
Yeah. So the most beautiful thing about bow mode,
you don't have to do the climb?
We don't have to do the climb.
Perfect.
No climb. There's nothing. There could be a second bow in the climb, but nobody's going to sequence break the climb to find their Bullock bow. That's just not happening. So the climb off the table. We might see Dante do the right side, the rest of the right side of GT, while Andy cleans up some of these other things.
Yeah, that's right. We actually do have in this case the actual fire rod, which actually does put right side into logic. Also does put Mafia in logic as well.
Chat telling us fire rod was in Dark Maze, so thank you, chat.
This is the benefit of having multiple eyes on these screens, right?
Yeah,
we only have 4 of them.
It's hard enough with 2 players. When you add one more, when you add 2 more, it just becomes
it's all the
and reference is so chaotic as it is. Cross keys will be much easier. There'll only be 2 players.
We talk about actually, co-op. It's very, very much fun, especially if you like your partner, right? You can have a great time, being able to. But again, communication can make it, so much more. It's like you're trying to figure out play to your best ability, and you've got this other person telling you for your first 15 minutes, this is where this is. You need to go to this place while you're also still trying to figure out.
There's the bow for Dante and Swamp. Right in the back of the so yeah, that should be go mode for pugs. I don't think I feel like last Locationeers are not going to be too far behind. But this is a pretty decent lead at this point for Andy and Dante, having all the knowledge. Dante right now in the battle for who wins on your team, Dante's got a pretty decent lead over Andy.
Oh no, was that intentional? On Mike's side, I didn't actually quite catch the beginning.
He has a fairy, so it's fine.
Okay, he's doing fairy revival, gotcha. He does have a potion, so you can use a fairy in order to unlock the camera as well. But I think with the fairy...
It looked like it worked. Yeah, I've never seen it actually done with the fairy, so I don't know what's all involved. So you're just going to have to do a good old-fashioned mimic clip here.
This is the backup. Sorry, right, I think with the fairy, you have to get, knocked into, the way that... the direction you want to move the camera. Maybe Mike doesn't want to try?
Yeah, you know, we know that there's nothing there.
Mhm.
And once he finds the other 2 items in this dungeon that are important, he may not ever go back to that, which would be good for him because there's nothing there.
Right.
There's
Heart
like a
container
heart
and
container
bombs.
and
Yeah, exactly.
oh,
No
yeah.
one's gonna bat an eye about that. Yeah, but I think
that's where Bombos was. It was sitting on the desert ledge.
Mhm.
Completely unneeded Bombos.
Yeah, right. So at this point, I think you said everything basically here is in pod or in the back of swamp, which is on the way, right? We've got hook shot and fire rod in here, and then all we really just need is that last blow. So really, it's gonna be actually who's kind of ahead, quote unquote. Looks like maybe Mike on last Locationeers side.
We still don't know what our last pendant or crystal is, so I imagine Dante will pick
that's
one.
also...
We'll pick one of Turtle Rock and Eastern and go to it. I honestly, I'd probably, I mean, I forget where, I don't recall exactly where Laser Bridge was, but I feel like that is a quicker
it's
going through Eastern. Of course, depends on where these dungeons actually are, and forgive me, I don't, trying to track these people. I know some people will use their own personal entrance trackers, and no. There's 4 of them. I'm not keeping track of all this.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I need like multiples. I have 2 screens. 2 screens is not enough. So let's say what is this? This is in fact Hera. Dante hasn't done Hera yet. So
he's
with Hookshot. Yeah, waiting for Hookshot to do Hera pot, knowing that there's nothing here makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and of course Andy, his partner's already done this, so he knows that there's nothing really of value here. Probably only unknown thing was that Hera basement check, but we're in go mode now, so...
Yeah, I mean, it could be our other bow. Okay, Andy's gonna go ahead and do the Laser Bridge Turtle Rock play. And we'll know in just a second whether or not it's Turtle Rock or Eastern. It's our last crystal. And like I said, normally you'd think Turtle Rock is a longer dungeon. Normally it is, but when you can just enter at the back like that, I think it's actually quicker than going through Eastern. And Eastern was kind of in an awful spot anyway, because it was you had to do a connector. I think it was Paradox Cave to TR Bridge to the other side of the TR Bridge, which is where Eastern was. So you have to do the connector. You can't avoid it.
Right. Maybe also another reason why they decided to try and go into Eastern earlier, even without the bow, right? I know that, going to Eastern, whether or not it's kind of polarizing opinion, but since it's, as you said, so far out of the way, right? You may as well...
Yeah, you don't want to miss your item in Eastern when you have to go, when you're so far to get back to it. And meanwhile, Scottish Brave and Misery Mire, which is really unfortunate, because they're so close to their go mode, and this is not going to get it for them.
Right, and
I imagine, I mean, she'll leave as soon as Mike finds the bow in Swamp here. That's where Mike's headed, but not ideal. Trinex decides to be give us just 5 rupees. Half an arrow from Trinex.
And it is a crystal, so that means we actually do not have to go back.
Don't have to go back to Eastern, so that's really nice. So yeah, this go mode is gonna be relatively quick because a lot of dungeons that they still need to complete, but you just pick an order, just do them. This is actually, I mean, this is probably more done. Dante, please. The hand just grabbed him.
It's Dante is undeterred and unfazed. He is going straight
just goes right back in.
All right, but looks like though
Andy's gonna go ahead and do Swamp. That's the other reason why Andy did went ahead to Turtle Rock first, because he didn't have to go get the bow for it first.
Yeah,
or did TR before Eastern to figure out where your last crystal is.
Yeah,
this will be a very quick swamp for Andy.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, well, I think he can be rewarded with a go mode swamp, right? Just because, well, minus in this case.
He did the hard part, so
exactly.
Don't forget to open your bow chest, and you're all good.
Did you see this amazing Mothula fight on Dante's side? One spike moved, and it was even hidden by all these.
Don't blink, because I missed it.
That is a very nice 9 out of 10 fight there, Dante.
And there's that bow for last Locationeers on Mike's side, so that should put them in go mode as well.
Yeah, you actually in this case see, Scottish Brave, very much in contact with her partner. Hey, I found the bow! I'm out of here.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Scottish Brave wasting all that time in Misery Mire that Andy and Dante managed to avoid. But they're going to finish this out, going to be in a nice go mode. Shouldn't be too far behind, but it's just going to be enough behind that really at this point, Andy and Dante would have to both make mistakes. It's really hard when your winning requires your opponent to make mistakes, especially when there's two of them.
Yeah, and if not saying that Andy and Dante are impervious, right, to being human, or in this case being pugs. It's probably not necessarily like the safest bet in order to hope in this case that they are going to eventually.
Yeah, I mean they're not impervious, but apparently they're perfect.
Perfect, unadulterated gaming squad. Andy, try to set up here for the zero cycle. Obviously quite good at though.
Almost. One puff got away.
Yeah,
that's really hard. That's one of the harder quick boss fights that you can learn.
Yeah, and look, Argus kind of rushed him too. So of course, Andy and Dante, very very talented NMG runners. I think Andy has a 124, which is very very impressive among all of the other titles that that Andy and Dante, of course, held over the years.
Yeah, both former tournament champions. Dante with the league champion moniker as well. Dante had a pretty good 2021, let's face it.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. But in this case, I think in this case everyone is in at least in some sort of like go/no mode, right? Scottish Brave is picking up the rest of her equipment here in pod. She's got her hook shot. She's gonna get her fire rod. She's gonna go to swamp and get her bow. This guy is just at this point, up to dungeon completion.
Yeah, nice required double dip of pod, by the way. We didn't quite shout that out, but that hook shot, you have to get that hook shot from pod before you can get the bow out of swamp,
yeah,
so,
that's true. That's true. That's right, we have to go back and eventually defeat Helmosaur as well. I mean, again, there is another bow out there floating somewhere. We don't really know where it is, but it's certainly looking very much.
It's in the well. It's in the top of the
yeah.
in the well. As much as we did joke about that, like no one's gonna go look for their Atologic bow in the top of GT, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, considering how many locations we have not checked. It being in GT would not surprise me.
Yeah, and actually it looks like, especially even on Andy and looks like what Mike and even as Andy and Mike's side, they're actually at a fairly decent amount of rupees, so they are actually gonna be able to use their bow. Dante, I am much less worried about. He has his 1,500 rupees. I think he could fight like Vitreous 3 times over and still be fine, honestly.
Yeah, money's not really going to be an issue. We don't have silvers anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Andy doesn't even have to worry about spending his 469 rupees. I mean, he could... With Tempered Sword, you don't typically use the bow to finish off Helmosaur anyway.
Yeah, actually, even looking at our pendant dungeons, actually, right? This one's actually a fairly nice layout for Retro, right? No Vitreous, no Armos. Honestly, those are
your money hogs. We didn't have the bow for Ice Armo, so I didn't cost any money there.
Oh, right. Forgot. In this case, that looks like Mike actually did not. He hasn't been a hero yet.
Yeah, I forgot. That's why Dante was doing that play earlier. I'd forgotten about that Thieves Town big key that was required. So a lot of big keys in interesting places.
Yeah, but man, this seed has actually been, I would say, fairly nice, right? As you've said before, no GT climb. That's always really nice seed. Didn't you have to make that decision?
Yeah, the only GT item that was required was that pod.
The pod big key, right? Yeah. And Stapless Room.
Yeah, the rest of GT completely unnecessary.
Oh my god!
Okay, sure.
Oh,
sure,
well,
game. Never mind, we are going to spend money for silver.
A good thing we only need 4 of the arrows. We only need 200.
Not a big. I mean, even with that 469, it's 200 rupees for 4 silver arrows. So plenty of. I was right though. It was a Bolog bow. I just didn't have it.
It was 100% true.
But that was absolutely a Bolog bow.
Well, then that bow that we found in Swamp, you are absolutely correct. It was a hard required logical.
Yep.
Couldn't get away.
Hard required and logical.
Yep.
Scottish Brave gonna go ahead and get that last big key. That looks like the classic. It's in Stalfos. I don't remember which chest.
Right. Sometimes again, I think they also found GT pretty early, but I mean, sometimes it's just like it's here. There's chest. It's probably just better to just open up everything and not have to spend energy.
Yeah, and Mike is low on keys, so he's going to go back here and buy a few. And
meanwhile,
Andy dropping down into GT. Remember I said Dante seemed to have the lead into... No, Andy managed to make a nice little comeback. I was just really, I was just probably flat out wrong about who had the lead. But
Yeah.
Andy first into the Ganon fight.
Actually, now Andy's actually gonna finish, I would say, quite a bit ahead, even of Dante. Actually, looking at our trackers for how many crystals that Dante has finished, he's gonna finish pod now, but he has at least a bit of rock, like Trinex fight left to go. So.
Oh, and Andy's got 0 small keys, so he wins my game of ending up with 0 small keys. Unless that 0 is actually an 8 and I just can't see it.
It looks like actually maybe Dante is also going to be on 0 keys as well, right? He's going to go in.
Let's see, what else does he have to do?
He needs to do Trinex, right?
Yes, do Trinex. There you go. He needs 1 small key for that. So shout outs to Pugs for doing the getting the 0 small keys to finish out the game.
Yeah, though meanwhile though, Scott
nice triple there to finish off Ganon. Andy, this is a really good time. I mean, granted it's co-op, so it's going to be shorter, but Andy's going to finish up with an official race time of 1:18:03. That is insane.
Really, really nice.
It's a really good time.
Yeah, even for these like co-op seasons, as you said, right? It can tend to take a little bit shorter, but I think 1:18 is definitely on the shorter side of even like fast co-op times.
Yep. And the so there we go. So Dante is going to finish this off. He needs to do... Yeah, there's that laser bridge spot. Going to go ahead and do laser bridge. With the gold sword, this actually matters in Trinex if gold sword does legit make this fight faster. Doesn't make a it does make a difference in Ganon. I always like to say that it's not the time difference. Also, not quite getting that dash throw.
Yeah, got the knockback instead of the knock forward.
Gold sword just makes the 1-on-1 free. It doesn't make it easier. So, I mean, it makes it freer. It doesn't make it faster.
Right. You're almost, quote unquote asterisk 99%, kind of guaranteed the one cycle. So. It's like,
but there we go. See, there's the power of the gold sword on Trinex. Trinex and Cold Stare are the places where you really want that gold sword. And frankly, Vitreous if you don't have, if you want to do slashes with the cape instead of, you don't have silver arrows.
I mean, there is a reason why in the vanilla game that the gold sword is locked behind, Cold Stare and, Misery Mire. So.
Yep, absolutely. And that's Trinex down for Dante. Gets his half an arrow. Actually, for gold, it's not even. It's what 10% of an arrow in.
I think at this point, Dante with almost 1,500 rupees. I don't even think he's gonna notice a difference.
Yeah, he can miss. I'm not gonna do the math, but he could miss a lot of shots before he runs out.
Alright, well, yeah, with that, Dante is 0 small keys, flush full of cash. He's just gonna go finish up Ganon, and then, that will actually be finished as 1 and 2 for the Pugs.
And there's that there's that drop down. I'm gonna fall into Ganon.
Yeah, meanwhile, though, Locationeers is certainly not too far behind right now. Scottish Brave is also just going to face down Argus. Just has to run, in this case, to the backup pod, and she'll be ready to go face Ganon. I think Mike is also just finishing up a Thieves Town. 1 more pod, and Trinex fight left to go. And we'll also face Ganon.
Dante with 15 hearts. Andy, what do you end up with? 8 for Andy.
8. That is such a...
I mean, on Scottish Brave managed to catch up a little bit on heart. Well, no, she was the one that was ahead. Mike is at 11 now, so Andy, the heart winner, loser, I don't know. Only with 8 at the end.
The most amount of love in this case.
We'll see what kind of finish Dante can have on this Ganon fight.
Yeah, I think also for what it's worth.
Can he get the triple that Andy got?
Yeah, did not look like it was possible. Too far north.
All right, Dante is gonna finish this up. Gonna walk across that bridge with an official race time of 1:21:33. GG's to Pugs. Again, it can still be undefeated.
If they
21 points, it'll be 21 points for them. So it's 7-0. A winner is you.
Yeah. You think in this case, if they are completely undefeated through the entire time, they can ask to change their name to the perfect undefeated gaming squad?
I mean, they could.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of that squad, we do have Andy and Dante in chat. So, first question, you guys got your t-shirts on?
You think I've done laundry yet? Come on.
All right, so I'm pretty sure that's on Dante. Dante, you should have brought 2 copies of t-shirts.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, if we're racing twice a week, I should have made more
Exactly.
t-shirts, or something. I don't know. I do not have mine on either, for the record.
Well, GG's guys. This was actually one really nicely done.
Yeah, this was really awkward to get around. Right when we saw like the back of Old Man Save and Quit in a bad location, we Sank was at Uncle. It's
Yep.
like, God, I really, really hope Old Man is just somewhere not trash. And then it was at King's Tomb. Yeah, but like, we played it pretty well. I think we separated and like made some gambles or like skips, like Dante finding the skull big in GT, and I was like, I'm just gonna hope we don't need that.
Yeah, fair enough.
And like, me getting Samaria on my way back to do tile room and Dante, not like, trying to like wait around or stall a little bit or anything. But Dante's choice of entrance in Village of Outcasts made things really unfortunate in the mid-game.
I was so excited to find Paradox, and then I was very unexcited to find out that I had left the lamp.
Oh, did you really?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
the-
And Paradox Cave taking you to Hype Cave and Eastern. And that Eastern location, you didn't have the bow yet, so you'd have to do Eastern without the bow. It wasn't such a bad spot, you do it anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I told Andy, I did the Hammer Peg house first because otherwise I'm gonna forget.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's absolutely fair.
And then I was like, well, the other 3 entrances you didn't do in Village of Outcasts all have items in them. So, but yeah, this was definitely like a really interesting start. Like finding Dante being first up the mountain with the mirror, to get the book and find a glove on Ether Tab, and we're like, okay, well, where's the second sword? And then like immediately after, I found Mitts on Zora Ledge, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, and no way to
weird.
sequence break it either.
Yeah, I was trying to remember if we had like found any caves with pits like around, and I couldn't think of any.
Yeah, it's because that's the thing you keep track of all the time is where
Yeah. But
we were amused. Andy, thank you for skipping the pokey.
yeah, I was gonna go pull it. I was
dude.
like, bro, I have 6
Everybody else
keys.
is
What am I
going in.
doing?
Everybody else is going and killing the pokey with fighter sword, and you just.
I mean, I had
with
Master
multiple
Sword
keys, that's
at
lots
least.
and lots of keys. You at least had Master Sword, and then Dante.
Yeah.
Ari even yelled at you in chat for skipping the other pokey.
Well, I spent so much time on that one, I was like, I can't do this again.
Fair enough. But
Well, I
yeah,
thought, and I'll admit, entrance brain not too strong on me, so I was thinking, I need to go out the front. No, I don't. I've already seen it, but I've already committed, so we'll check this one item.
I mean, it was in a reasonable spot though, at least because you just got the flippers, so you could just hop into the whirlpool and get the glove you needed. But,
Yeah.
You were very amused by the pokey keys that you all picked up, or 3 of you picked up.
The entire time, Dante was like, I'm gonna go out the front, and then like, as he's doing it, he's like, wait, crap, I know where this goes already, and he's like, wait, this is great.
The emotions were so up and down.
I like the collection difference, right, for you guys.
Oh,
by
Yeah,
the way.
I'm the hard carry.
Dante's snugly.
Well, look at all the
in
hearts that Dante
backpack.
has that Andy doesn't.
Oh yeah, I know. It was great.
And you had to
yeah.
do left side swamp with that hook shot.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was so mad. I was talking to Dante while I'm walking through because like, he had just like beat a crystal to go, or he had just found the flute, and so he was just walking to Kakariko. I'm like, hey, can you like clean up our dock while I'm going through swamp? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'm talking about how nice swamp is in Retrans because you can dive her down without a hook shot, and then I totally blanked and just like turned my brain off and did it normally. And I was like, well,
Oh.
I didn't know you did that.
yep.
Hey, you both remembered to skip the Thieves Town pot key. That's a good one.
Yep.
That's one of the retro things you get out of that.
Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
also
tell you
both
how
ended up-
long I
you
was
also-
thinking about if I needed that.
You both also end up with 0 keys. That's always my goal when I play Retrons is I want to end up with 0 keys at the end.
Yeah, I think we just played this one really well with like, one of us finding like a big key for a dungeon and then just immediately going to beat it to see if it was like something of priority or not.
Yep, and just to interrupt you for a second, last Locationeers finishing up, Scottish Brave with an official race time of 1:26.28, Structural Mike with a 1:27.09. So
Yeah,
GGs to them.
yeah, definitely GG's. Much closer, actually, difference here between their Ganon fights, only about half a minute. Looks like we are joined here by Scottish Brave as well. GG's. And soon to be
GGs.
Mike.
Yeah, he's coming. There he is.
There he is. We got everybody now.
Yeah,
Yo,
GG's, guys.
GG's.
GG.
GG's.
So one more question for Dante and Andy before we move on to Scottish Brave and Mike. Was there any concern that you didn't really get as much time to practice? Like, I know several of us had talked about before SG Live about playing some co-op just for fun, and I know I need to do some SM co-op to figure out what their league is going to do. But it didn't happen. like everybody was so busy, and Andy in particular, you having all those races on Saturday. There's just no time to just sit down and play. So was there any concern about that going into this?
Not for this one. Ari and I have only done one practice seed together. Because Ari went to SG Live like a week before everybody
Right,
else.
because he did the touristy thing.
Yeah. What a nerd. But Dante and I, we've probably done like 5, I think, in the last like couple weeks. So I felt pretty good about how Dante and I play. Although like this was legitimately the most chaotic start out of any of the practices we've had. Early Pearl with like super early Dark World connector.
Yeah, like almost immediate.
It was definitely like a little bit of panicked for like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we saw that first connector pretty early to Dark World. I told him where it was, and he was like, "Wait, you're not taking that, are you?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Good luck, bro, if you are."
All right, and GG's to Mike, and Structural Mike and Scottish Brave. Still a really good time for you guys. Just you ran into a really good team.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, we had set our expectations for this, but I think we kept it close. And if some circumstances had been different, we could have been different in the end anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, just Dante got flute and got to Misery Mire area first, and Pod is having the things to basically lead you to the end. And unfortunately, Scottish Brave, you dipping into Misery Mire was a little unfortunate because by the time you got there, we knew there was not going to be anything there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys played very well. Like execution-wise, it was quite good. But as Trace kind of mentioned, it looks like it was actually more of like the routing, basically, that kind of ended up taking a little bit more time.
Yeah, you don't see it on stream, but half of the time my brain is just going full panic because there's too much information at once and I can't.
It is a lot of
process
information at once. This mode is a lot of information to begin with, but then you add co-op to it.
There's many spots where I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm just gonna stand still for a second so I don't do anything dumb.
Yeah, there were a lot of points where there were just like a lot of entrances in a very enclosed area that were all important. So it was like, all right, I hope you're ready for this. I'm about to list off like 4 things at you.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes remembering exact things. Like I forget which one of you got the pod big key out of GT second. Which is literally the only thing in GT, and the one that was getting it I think it was Scottish Bear. I think you were the one picking it up, and he's of course the last chest because obviously, which one is it?
Yeah, it's like I wonder which one it is, and yeah, that's cool. I always go left to right, but no, that's cool. It can be in the last chest if it wants to be in the last chest. That's fine. I'm not angry at it. That's fine. It can be wherever it wants to be. It's a free key.
Yeah.
I usually have to like bug Dante to be like, all right, I got pod big key in in DM room, and I'm like, all right, which chest? He's
I
like,
actually listen. I put it on the sheet
okay,
correctly
yeah,
this time.
that one he did put it on the sheet. Yeah, we try to like kind of do that a little bit, but sometimes things are
I
just too
can't
hectic
type
and you forget. Or yeah,
one-handed.
we can't type.
Yeah, no, Mike sent me into a panic by asking me where the shovel was, and I was like, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember where shovel was. I was like, why do you need shovel? He's like, Easternbig. I was like, Easternbig isn't in there. It's in Thief. It's in Hera. And he's like, oh. I'm like, no, because I don't remember where that shovel is now. It's gone. That information's gone. That's long gone. I wrote that off as useless.
Wow, and we found, I don't know how you guys found both gloves, but we found both of them without being able to grab any of them.
Yes.
Yeah, almost like I think I found the Zora Ledge glove like 90 seconds after Dante had found the Ether Tablet glove, and I'm like, all right, which one of these things? And then I think I also got the sword like simultaneously to Dante getting the flippers.
Yeah, it was very similar for us as well.
Yeah, I think it was the other way around. I got I saw the Ether Tablet one, and then not too long after, like there's a glove on Zora Ledge as well.
Oh, and then
can't repeat what's said.
And of course, I gotta give you two a hard time because I already gave Dante a hard time for killing the Pokey Turtle Rock with lots of keys.
I didn't. I was gonna, and then I stopped.
Nice.
I stopped
me and Mike.
taking damage.
I got turned into a bunny, and I was like, "What am I doing? I'm just leaving."
I would just like to point out that because I killed that Pokey, I had the perfect amount of keys for the rest of the seed, so it was well worth it.
Yeah,
There you go.
Didn't everybody like Mike? Did you end up in 0 keys? I think the other three definitely end up on 0 keys. That's my veteran goal. It was like, if I end up on 0 keys, I know I'm doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's always the fun math when you like finally hit go mode. Like,
Yeah,
Dante,
many
you got
keys
that bow, and I'm like, all right,
Which
do I
one's
need
gonna
any
skip?
keys? Where am I gonna buy one if I need one?
Yep.
Yeah, because Mike did that. He's like, I found a bow, we're in go mode. I was like, you need to shut up for 5 minutes because I need to figure out what I'm doing right now, and that is figuring out the keys.
So I will also shout out the Seedwing bow mode. Kept everybody out of GT climb, so yay.
I
We were
thought
really
about it.
hoping that like the other one wasn't like right side GT or something because we just never had a good opportunity to go
Yeah,
back.
right side GT still could have been a thing towards the end, but it made sense to go do swamp first. But once you guys were in Bomo, it's like, well, we're not climbing. And I believe the back of it was going to be the well because I don't recall seeing the well anywhere. So
Yeah,
it's like
it
9
was.
items.
was appeared.
No, that if Catquail's behind GT, it's dead to me. I don't even think about it. It's nice, 5 items, but it's dead to me. I'm not even thinking about it.
I need to think about that more often because it's almost never anything when you go there. Okay, I'm gonna go get 9 items on the GT climb.
It's like, oh, cool, lots of rupees and heart pieces. This is really nice. This is so worth doing.
I see you guys' collection rate is a little more balanced.
Actually, we
I was going to
this.
ask about that.
Yeah, Andy, did you do anything, mate, or did you just leave it all?
I did all of Thieves Town.
That's okay. Okay, yeah.
I mean, Andy did. To be fair, Andy did swamp without the hook shot.
Yeah, it ended up just like
You get no
Dante.
points for that. I did that.
Dante, when I went up the mountain, I didn't have the mirror yet, so Dante was the one that went up initially, and I didn't have the hammer when I found GT, so Dante ended up doing like mirror up to Hera entrance over to GT.
Man, that's so smart. I should also not get the progression items, so I make Scottish do everything.
And then
Don't act like you don't already do that, Michael.
Wow.
I was the first to Hera for the Thieves Big, and I also like broke Skullwoods with Lamp early. So I had a major crystal lead. So when all we had left was desert for the one thing or swamp without a hook shot, I had Dante do desert.
Yeah.
Well, I did swamp just because I think I was at 4 crystals while he was at 1. So it just didn't make sense for me to be the one to beeline a crystal.
Yeah.
And then that led to Dante finding Pod and Meyer and like whatever else. So he just did all the check dense stuff while I did trash.
Yeah, no, I think we didn't have much left when we had to go to desert, but yeah, when when Mike found that float and use finish, we were like, I think it's the float that's got us here.
All right. Well, we are running out of time. Looks like there is another race for looks like a Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster any percent coming up right on the top of the hour. So we're gonna have to cut this a little short, get them in here. But final thoughts on this seed.
I'm never playing co-op veterans again.
Okay, well, so that means that you're sitting out for game 2, Mike. Is that what you're telling us?
Yep.
Yeah, it's myself and Zen, and then after that race, I'm done for the rest of League.
Oh wow.
Until playoffs, so you're looking pretty good for getting in there.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Don't put expectations on us.
Okay, so Scottish. After this week, your mission is to come up with team T-shirts because Dante and Andy and Eric already
God.
have that.
I
going on for you.
noticed those. Those were amazing. So yeah. Leave that with me. Don't you worry about it. I'll get us t-shirts.
Okay, all right.
All right,
We look
Andy and
forward to them.
Dante, last thoughts.
Thanks for coming. I still am bad at entrance. Thanks for Andy carrying with an 84 collection rate.
Andy, you got anything?
Just
All right. Okay.
give me a little less awkward save and quit points next time.
Yeah, those were not good.
I second that.
You're not racing again. You don't get an option here, Michael.
Okay. All right. I hope your
GGs.
save and quit is uncle again.
All right. So that's
All right,
gonna-
GG's again, guys.
Yeah,
Used
GG's.
to. And yeah, thanks. Just to echo what Danny said, thank you again for putting the restream on and commenting and tracking for us as well. Appreciate it a lot.
All right, so that's pretty much gonna do it for us. Shout outs, Clear Mouse. We finally got to. We
I
didn't get
know,
to do it in
I know,
person, but we got to do a race together.
Next
so that was
is
awesome.
GL, Tracy. We're on.
Absolutely,
We're, gonna do it
we're
live.
doing it. We're doing it. Shout outs to Literally Jen and Slowpoke, our trackers. Trackers, the MVPs of all our races, especially
Especially today.
and of course, our runners. If you are already following them, go ahead and. It's all right. Yeah, Slowpoke even putting the command in chat. Go ahead and follow them. I'm sure they appreciate it. All good runners, all doing great work. And of course, the league admins. Dante, one of the league admins. So shouts to all of them. And yeah, of course, shouts to everybody watching in chat. That's gonna do it for us. Clear Mouse, you got anything else?
No, I'm good. Best of luck to both. Pugs and Last Locationeers for game 2. I think it's on Sunday. I want to say something like that. But definitely, best of luck. You guys are performing really great. Should be a really good match. But until then, yeah, lots of races coming up later today on the SpeedGaming family. And have a great rest of your Friday and weekend.